Hello and welcome to This Car Pod.
I'm Filippo.
I'm Nick.
I'm Doug, and there's a lot to cover this week. Let's start with the news. The big news of the week is that Wall Street Journal is reporting that Ford has done some sort of dealer meeting and confirmed an upcoming four-door Mustang. We'd already known this. Auto News reported this months ago, but apparently now they've actually physically showed it to the dealers. And there's maybe a little bit more details. Is there going to be a V8, Filippo?
It's a little unclear. They haven't confirmed that extent. We know from some reporting that there will be a hybrid. I've heard rumors of a V8. What we do know is that they showed some early concepts in person to a large dealer meeting that they had in Vegas, where they also talked about the Ford Fathom, which we talked about last week, revealed a $25,000 small crossover, did some other kind of big dealer-related, like, upcoming product reveals. The Mustang, we know from some reports from people there, they weren't allowed to take photos, but apparently it will look somewhat like a Panamera. Take that as you will.
Hopefully a second gen, yes.
But very much like a Mustang, apparently. Four doors. We know there'll be a bunch of powertrain options. They've said that it will start around or below $40,000. I imagine there'll be like an EcoBoost version, and then we'll have a performance version.
Nick, this is big news.
Yeah, the Mach 4 is what they're going to call it.
The Mach 4 is what they're probably going to call it. It's interesting, right? So Ford stopped doing all cars. The Mustang is the only car they've been selling for the last this decade, pretty much. They got rid of cars to go for SUVs. They've now realized that maybe there is a market, maybe focused around their most famous sub-brand, which is Mustang, for a four-door car, basically. So it'll be interesting to see. It's an interesting return to that, but with like a sporty intention, with a little bit more personality maybe than like a Fusion or a 500 or a Taurus or whatever.
Nick, do you agree that we will not purchase this car if there's no V8?
I don't think we'll purchase it regardless, but...
No. Listen, I know we're not going to buy it.
Yeah.
But you agree we're not going to buy it if there's no V8.
Yeah, well, especially when Dodge is out here ripping V8s and
they're ripping V6s,
Turbo 6,
though,
V6s and everything.
Right? Like they don't have a V8 either. But there almost certainly would be a V8. There's some reporting around that. There's reporting around a V8 hybrid also. Yeah. They've said that the fastest
that's not
version,
what we want.
The fastest version will apparently have a sub 4 seconds 0 to 60, which is good performance.
Doug and I are only buying if it's a shoot and brake manual V8.
That's right.
No, wait. That's not what I said. I said I won't buy if there's no V8. I never gave any conditions under which I would buy it. There are none.
It is interesting. So we took Mustang, my grandpappy's Mustang had a 289 in it and all that.
150
and then we had
horsepower.
the Mach-E, and it's a Mustang electric SUV. And now we've got the Mustang Mach 4. Does the Mustang become its own brand? Yeah. What other Mustang variants do we have? Do we get a Mustang Mach 2? I think that's like a little economy car.
We've seen a lot of brands kind of focus on like what brings in enthusiasts and relating it to the core enthusiast car.
Yeah.
It seems to be a potentially successful strategy.
I want a Mustang Mach 7.
Which is a 7-seater.
It's going to be based on the Expedition, lowered SVT style, like the Thunder concept.
That's not going to happen, but I appreciate the dream.
I would have a bigger market than a $40,000 sedan.
I mean, $40,000.
Wait. You don't.
That's a normal
think
price
this
now.
is going to be successful?
No, dead on the water. Sedans are not the only people buying sedans are buying them because they are the cheapest option available. When you price this at $40K. There's no market left. It's not. Well, you would rather have a Mach-E or something that's...
The average new car is like $52,000 now.
Okay, fair. But if you're buying a sedan, you're buying like a Versa or something that's like $20K or a Kia K5.
Now, wait a minute. My guess is that they will position the four-door Mustang as sort of a more budget-friendly alternative to like a 3 Series. I think this will probably be positioned where the Infiniti G35, 37, and Q50 used to be positioned.
Reasonable.
And I think you're going to find that, Nick, the Dodge Charger sold big numbers before they got rid of it for the electric one, and that was the same idea. It was like a four-door muscle car. That was a pretty popular car.
Hey, look, I didn't grow up in Cherry Hills Village or whatever fancy suburb of Denver you did. All right, $40K where I'm from is a lot of money. And I'm just telling you, the only people that are buying sedans are doing so because they're cheap.
Nick, you in order to Google that fact, you ignored literally everything that I just said.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. What did you just say?
Let's go back and say it again. The G35 and G37 and Q50 were quite popular, and they still are popular in some neighborhoods late at night. And
this was 20 years ago. The market has changed.
The C-Class, the
Nick,
E-Class, the 5 Series sell.
The Taurus
Dodge
used to be
Charger
the best
was
car,
selling-
but that doesn't mean anything today.
The Dodge Charger was selling pretty big numbers up until, I mean,
Yesterday.
they got rid of it. It was selling well. Is that not? Oh God, he's typing in.
and
He's
by
not
the way,
listening
Well,
anymore.
what was the Dodge? The Charger was.
they were selling pretty
I guess they
well.
were about the same price point.
And same price point for this
Yeah.
one. Sub 40K, by the way, is going to be one of the cheaper products on new
guess.
products on sale. By the way, the Camaro, which we don't know that much about yet, but is going to have another generation, will
It's
also
so
have
weird.
a four-door sedan variant.
And I know
Nick,
Jim
if this is
Farley
a-
did. Go ahead.
If this is a rear-wheel drive 4-door, tell me how this isn't like a G30, like you're looking at a 3
0
Series.
to
You can't afford it, like a
0 to
Kia
60.
Stinger kind of thing.
Or like a Crown Vic. Like, are we bringing back the Panther, basically?
No, it's more athletic than that. It's more athletic. It's going to be fun. There are some cars in this segment that have had some success, the Charger and the Q50, and I have a suspicion that there are people who want a Mustang but don't want a 2-door car.
You could be very right here. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you, but the fact that they're saying, okay, it has Panamera vibes, that has not been a commercial success.
You do have to wonder, these are all Ford dealers that are saying this because they're the only ones that saw it.
Yeah,
What do
that's true.
they think a Panamera looks like? Becomes the question.
Well, they probably get a lot traded in that they give them $8,000 cash
No, that's fair.
towards their Mach-E.
I agree with you, Filippo. I think they're basically what they're saying is that it has a sloping roof line.
4-door coupe situation.
I've also heard that it's going to look like a current generation Mustang, which that rendering we have up there does. And I think a current generation Mustang would actually look pretty baller if it had 4 doors. Yeah. I'm hot on this product. I'm excited to see if they actually can deliver it for under 40, if it stays rear-wheel drive, if there's a V8 available. I think this is actually a pretty cool thing. And I think it's smart of Ford to pursue a market, the Charger market, which Chrysler basically seeded without a replacement, which is unusual for a car that is successful. And they did that because of the growing EV demand, which has since declined. And so maybe there's an opportunity here for Ford. Now, similar cars like the Kia Stinger have failed in this segment and the Chevy SS.
Good point.
Some have been successes and some have been failures. And so it'll be interesting to see exactly how this one goes.
I just can't
Filippo,
think
do
of
we
a
have-
sedan that I would call super successful since like the Model S, where it's been like a hot, in demand, very desirable.
The Charger was that. They were selling real units of the Charger up until the very end.
I think that
They were doing so at this price point with this buyer. Hey, Filippo, do we have a timeline on this?
I think that's a 2027 reveal for 2028, 29 is my understanding. So relatively soon.
Not
There's
so
also
bad.
Be,
All right.
by the way, a small crossover to come out 2029. That's like a sub 25K, trying to hit that cheaper price point.
There you go.
It's interesting.
The Nissan Versa buyer.
Pretty much.
What else you got? What's our next story?
More American muscle.
Speaking of Chargers,
Yeah, the Super Bee, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. They initially had their like AI video with the bees and all
Yeah.
that. Now we know what it looks like. 600 horsepower, inline turbo 6. They've rumored to have an even more powerful version coming, but this is the 2027 Dodge Charger Super Bee.
it is for now the most powerful Charger. It's a Hurricane 6-cylinder situation, right?
Yep.
600 horsepower, but there will be more, which is no surprise, right? Like Dodge's entire personality at the moment is add more power to all of their cars.
More power.
And then when you then discontinue that product
Yep.
and advertise that this will be the last of the powerful Durangos, you come out with another equally powerful Durango.
Yep.
So this will just keep happening.
And for you tuners and Ryan Lopez fans here, it has got Garrett turbochargers.
Oh, wow.
56 millimeter snails that provide 30 PSI of boost, and peak torque arrives at 3,000 RPM. So
Wow.
if you want to have a takeover and you, like me, are unsure about the Mach 4, boy, does Dodge have something for you.
Is this car not 4-wheel drive anymore?
11.8, quarter mile.
think so.
There's nothing about these.
Thanks, Nick.
seeing
Thanks for that. That answers the question.
I also do think it's just for the coupe. I don't think there's a 4-door Super Bee.
It's got a unique snout that can inhale more air to keep things cool.
Remember when we reviewed that, when we did that Hellcat with Street Speed 717, Doug, in rural Pennsylvania, and you discovered that the headlight was fake? Or
Yeah,
like, it
one of
wasn't
the
fake, but
headlights
it
in
went
the
through.
maybe it was true of all the Hellcats. But
Yeah, probably.
initially one of the headlights in the Hellcats was fake, and it was an intake.
I still really want a
So
Hellcat.
that it has a snout to allow more air.
Why don't we
Dude,
have
you
Hellcats, Filippo?
can get a Hellcat.
I know.
You can.
You
can
got to
get a
worry about
Hellcat.
like lifter tick and some pretty serious engine challenges if you can buy a cheap one, which
You know what
let's
you
be
wanna
honest,
do?
I would buy a cheap one,
And
but
theft.
yeah. Well, I can
Do you
look past the
remember? Do you remember Omi in a Hellcat?
theft. No.
He was a YouTuber. He's in federal prison, but he had a Hellcat,
nice.
and I bet it's pretty cheap now.
What, because of things he did in the Hellcat, or unrelated?
No, I can't remember, actually. Sam would know.
We'll ask our friend Sam.
I do love the YouTuber gossip.
Yeah.
It's always the best.
This was years ago. Nobody watching is going to remember this guy, but his name was Omi in a Hellcat. That was his channel name, Omi in a Hellcat.
Pretty good. The Super B will be
and Omi, we liked Omi, but then he went to jail. So anyway, this is a thing, and it's got a gas 6-cylinder. V8 is coming. We all know. They haven't announced that yet, but we all know it's coming. I think this is a fantastic 6-cylinder. I'm excited to drive this car. I have a suspicion it's going to be awesome. I really actually like this product. With the right powertrain, I think this actually could be in the right price point, it could be a very compelling car.
And remember when it launched, it was EV only?
Yes.
And now we're talking about 600 horsepower, 6 cylinders, and now we're talking about a V8 coming. Like, wow, has the world changed? And that's, again, why I'm saying, okay, the four-door Ford, like, the world is so different than it was even 2 years ago.
Credit to Dodge. They've kept up with that change somehow, although I've yet to see a Charger on the road since it was, like, I saw
I've seen a couple.
So, by dealers brought to Cars and Coffees. Haven't seen a customer car.
I've seen about as many as I've seen Wild Filippo's at Cars and Coffee.
There you go.
Like, it happens once a
sometimes.
month, maybe.
Yeah.
You see one.
Yeah.
Nick, walk me through your shirt there. You got a Ford GT shirt.
Yeah, it's laundry day at my house.
Shout out to Avant. Great shirt.
Avant gave me this shirt. And, I did happen to notice when you said you were looking for Heritage GT, you said the first news story every week would be the Heritage GT until we found one. And it hasn't been the lead story in a couple weeks, Doug.
What are you implying? That we found one? Who's we?
Well,
you?
the audience
Did you find one?
audience would infer that perhaps you might have found one. I don't know.
I got a lot of car changes coming. It's going to be a whole thing. I just went and registered a car today. I got a lot of DMV trips to make.
What are you implying by that?
That there may be Ford GT Heritage news coming.
Ooh.
Let me ask you.
Did you pay $2.2 million for it?
Yeah. Nick, let me ask you a question. If you were getting a Ford GT Heritage, what number would you put on the circles?
99, baby.
Because there are circles. There's a meatballs on the side you can put a number on if you want to.
Right. Yeah, we got that. We're caught up. Thank you. It's also it's in case you don't know what a Heritage is. It's light blue with orange on it, and a Ford GT was a V8 supercar from 05 to 06. Any other factoids for
what
us?
number would you put on the car?
I think I just wouldn't be in that situation.
Well, why can't you be imaginative? Once in your life, why can't you simply be imaginative?
No number, because I haven't earned a number. Like, you got to go racing.
You know what he would do?
Number, you got to win, and then you can feel the pride of putting that number on the side of your race car. But you haven't been, and so you got to leave it blank till you go win.
He would use that circle, and he would sell ad spots against it. And every month it would change. It'd be like, all you can eat breadsticks at Olive Garden. And then like the next month it would be someone different.
By the way, Filippo, it's interesting you bring up going racing in a Ford GT and winning. I seem to recall that I did go racing in a Ford GT against Nick, and I seem to have recall winning.
Oh, so
Is that your recollection, Nick?
I remember being very close.
You can go watch that video. Still, it's on YouTube.
That was such a fun video. We need more track days, even though they're not that interesting to watch. They're really fun to make.
Unfortunately.
Between lowballing Kia dealerships, hanging out with Ryan Lopez and his smoke shows, and taking orders from producer Sean, things have been a little crazy recently, which is why I've been leaning on Factor to help me eat well and take care of my body when everything else is so crazy. It's chef-crafted, dietitian-designed, and ready-to-eat meals, so you're not choosing between real food and convenience. Like a Kia dealership that has banned foul language, Factor has banned over 175 ingredients, so every meal is built around what actually supports a healthier lifestyle. And they're ready in 2 minutes. No prep, no cleanup, and even on your most chaotic days, eating well is still totally doable. There's a rotating menu every week too, so I'm never bored. I found a bunch of veggie-forward options that keep things interesting, and I use Factor, and I think you should too. Let's eat real. Head over to factormeals.com/cars50off and use code CARS50OFF to get 50% off and one free breakfast item per box for 1 year, while supplies last or until 10/31/2026. That's code CARS50OFF at factormeals.com. Cars 50 off at factormeals.com. See website for more details.
Everyone keeps asking what AI replaces. Running operations here, I'll tell you what it can't. The moment your auction team and your content team are in a room and something finally clicks, nobody assigned that. It happens because the right people were talking. There are a lot of things that AI can't replace. Teamwork isn't one of them. But that's why Notion works for us. Our docs, meetings, and projects all live in one connected system. So when we ask the AI something, it has the context to actually be useful instead of guessing. Fewer tools, less friction, and my team stay aligned without me chasing anybody down. It's AI designed to strengthen teamwork, not replace it. And we're not the only ones. With over 100 million users, Notion is trusted by 98% of the Forbes Cloud 100 and 95% of the top 50 AI companies, including OpenAI, Cursor, Lovable, and more. Learn more about how Notion can support your business at notion.com/cars. That's all lowercase letters, notion.com/cars. To try Notion today. And when you use our link, you're supporting our show.
All right, next news story, please.
Acura.
What is your Acura
At the
news?
Quail, which is known for its most exotic, high-end, $20 million cars, Acura, of all people, not only still making cars, they're debuting at the Quail and also at Pebble Beach a new concept car. It is said they've given very little details other than they blasted everyone that has tickets to either event, saying it'll be showcasing a bold new era for Acura design. The new design language will influence the brand's future models, including the much anticipated, super exciting fourth generation Acura RDX hybrid set to arrive. They're not promising a date, set to arrive in the coming years.
Oh, wow. For the supercars that are RDX.
This is
nothing.
wild. Okay, we're going to make a hybrid sometime. And to celebrate that intent or that idea, we're going to have a completely unrelated concept car at an event that no Acura buyers will be
But
present.
keep in mind, last year they showed the RSX prototype, which they
Yes.
an EV RSX.
I
they
wanted to
killed.
mention that. Nick, do you remember this? Quail last year, when Gordon Murray revealed that McLaren F1 thing, and there were all these big debuts, and Mike Countach was there. Acura revealed the RSX prototype and insisted, and I'm now reading their press release from that, a significant next step in the performance brands electrification strategy. They referred to it as captivating, and mentioned that it is a dramatically styled premium performance SUV. Now, on this very podcast, I don't know, 2 months ago, we reported that Honda has shelved all plans for electric vehicles and will never, ever produce an electric vehicle again.
Not quite what we said, but yeah.
Unless it is a remote-controlled car licensed to Hasbro. Now, the RSX, so therefore the RSX prototype didn't happen.
Yeah.
But this new one, we're not sure.
Well, maybe it's the RSX Type S or something that they'll be debuting. You know, like maybe they're going
They'll do like a full
iterate.
model line of RSX prototypes that'll never come to the market.
It's the RSX Type Mach 4.
They will, I guess, this concept will surely never happen, but it could be like an NSX-esque thing, and then it'll drive forward the styling direction for the RDX.
For an
the
RDX
mid-size,
hybrid that's
small,
coming
mid-size
in
SUV.
a couple years. Maybe.
They need new
Isn't
products.
Isn't it funny that after all these years, Toyota was right? You remember Toyota was like, we're not doing EVs, we're doing hybrids.
Yep.
We're doing hybrids. And everybody was like, EVs, Toyota's so behind, they're not doing EVs. And now, I saw a chart, the days supply. Toyota has the lowest days supply of any automaker.
But keep in mind that the Highlander is now EV only, and they have the car whose review came out today, the BZ, and the CHR, and the BZ, and the BZ Woodland, and the Highlander, all EV only. So they're clearly are coming to market with these cars.
But that's a disingenuous. I mean, there is a non-EV Highlander called the Grand Highlander,
But
which is incredibly popular.
The Highlander, as I said, went EV only.
Yeah, and so did the CHR. Yeah, Toyota.
Sure did.
Toyota really rose to the challenge.
Sure did.
Toyota's right. And I'll tell you something. As the owner of a Toyota hybrid, which at any point may strand me because the engine may blow up and Toyota's refusing all responsibility.
No, it won't strand you because the electric motor will move it 30, 40 feet.
30, 40 feet. Toyota, manufacturer of noted hybrid vehicles. I got a call from my mom yesterday. And my mom's got a 2005. Do you know what my mom drives, Filippo?
Of course. Lexus RX 330.
Yeah, my mom's got a 2005 Lexus RX 330 with 106,000 miles.
It's got 106 to go.
She told me that she last got gas on May 31st. And
Oh.
And so she calls me up, right? And she says, Doug, I'm having this problem with the car where I take the key out and none of the accessories turn off and none of the lights turn off. And like the car seems to think that it's running still. The engine turns off, but like you can't lock it. Like it's all still like on. And she said, so I took it to the Lexus dealer and they said it would be $4,500 to replace the steering column and all this stuff. And she said, the Lexus dealer also told me that they want to, that they'd be interested in buying the car. There's some sales guys who really want the car. I mean, this is like, they've had the car for like 18 years and it's, in nice shape. And I said, I'm very worried because I can't get stranded. And I said, well, you got gas last on May 31st. Like, it doesn't sound like what's your risk?
Anywhere.
Like, really? What's your risk? And then I introduced her to the concept that she had never heard of in her life, which was an independent auto repair shop that was not affiliated with the dealership. I said, why don't you take it to an independent shop? What are you talking about? I said, independent, like a Toyota shop. She said, can you look them up for me? I said, yeah, I'll do that. So I sent her off a couple.
What a good son.
Yeah.
Thank you for connecting that story to the Acura RDX hybrid that's coming soon. I will say,
what I'm trying to illustrate is that there are some of us who are loyal consumers of Toyota vehicles, and Toyota was right all along, and Acura was wrong.
I'm so sorry. Can I ask you just a couple of quick questions here?
Yeah.
What was the product? How many Lexuses have your parents bought?
One.
How many Lexuses have they bought since that point? Zero. Right. So they're loyal to something.
Are you advocating they should make less reliable vehicles so you have to trade them in and get new ones?
I don't know.
They are loyal. They are loyal to the individual product. They have that great 3.3 liter V6. That was one of the great powertrains ever to exist.
That RX is a great car. By the way, I want to say a fun thing about Acura, because I think we give Acura a lot of grief for the fact that they don't make any compelling products currently. Yeah. They sold more cars in the first half of this year than Cadillac, than Audi, your favorite brand, Audi, Acura, with products that are quite dated.
Well, what does that have to do with anything? They probably sold more cars than Ferrari, too.
Honestly, I thought they were like dying, if not dead. So the fact that they're still out there.
They're the fourth largest luxury brand in the U.S.
I'm only interested in profit. The thing that you got to understand, the automakers hide behind sales numbers.
And they came out 10 years ago, as all of their products did. I think that they've amortized their investment quite successfully.
Maybe. We don't know what the current situation is and how they're forcing dealers to take these cars and what kind of holdback they're giving them. Ultimately, this is the problem that I have with sales numbers, why I don't like to report sales numbers. I am only interested in revenue and ultimately net profit. The automakers like to report sales numbers to show their success, but Buick's over there selling 80% of their cars to rental fleets and then saying, everything's fine, we're selling, look at us, we're the third most popular premium brand. Meanwhile, every Envista that I see has 14-inch wheels and a plastic thing on the key tag.
What a dream.
And to me, I don't accept those numbers. I want to know what the financial situation.
Which I'll prepare that for a couple weeks from now. But it's important to note also the investment that you as a brand are making. And if you're Acura, and I mean now they're apparently investing heavily in the prototype, and a few years from now the RDX hybrid.
What's odd is that a display of both Pebble and Quail is going to set them back tens of millions of dollars
for
probably.
No clear reason.
There's certainly a cheaper way to tease some taillights, but
yep. All right, let's keep moving on. There's a bunch of other cars that are going to be revealed at the Quail. Can I talk about them quickly?
You pumped for this?
Did you end up getting tickets, or did we cheap out?
I'm not going, unfortunately.
You're not going, okay.
Correct. But Sean, our producer, will be at the Quail.
And I will, and Kenan will. A lot of the crew minus you and Doug.
Can we say 2 words on each car?
That's it?
Diablo Resto Mod thing, I think.
Yeah.
At the top left, the
Eccentrica Diablo Roadster.
Some Gambala thing. The only one that's cool is that
Rezvani
B-Stax, which is based on a C8 Corvette. Is it armored?
I think Gordon Murray fans will take advantage of issue with that. But
Rezvani makes tanks that are armored and have like...
Yeah, they make the tank, but they already make the Beast. They make other vehicles.
What is the Rezvani B-Stax?
The B-Stax is based off the newest Corvette.
Yeah.
1,000 horsepower. Whoa. It is basically turning the volume up to 11 1,560 horsepower, new bodywork, etc. I've actually seen the non-X, like the regular beast, and it looks pretty cool.
Is it also based on a Corvette?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. So we know this. And then apparently Gordon Murray Academy will be revealing a new product. The last one they revealed at the Quail last year was like a one-off F1 looking thing based on the T50 that sold at auction then for like $20 million. Anything you want to add?
I want to interject real quick because these are cars that regular people don't care about and can't afford. I want to tell you about a car that regular people can afford that I have a news story about myself. It's not in the slides, but I have one. And the news story is that today I looked up the size of the engine inside semi-trucks. Do either of you want to take a guess as to what kind of engine semi-trucks have?
Many are turbo diesel 6 cylinders. Large.
Give me an
turbo
engine
diesel
size.
cylinder. 12 liters.
Nick, what's the correct answer?
Can I Google it?
And how much power and torque?
Oh, no power, decent torque. But not as much as you'd think.
Give me numbers.
The 600 pound-feet of torque and 350 horsepower.
350, 600. That's like that's like a Mustang.
Yeah.
But Nick, what's the correct answer? He says he thinks. What'd you say? 12 liters, straight 6.
Yeah.
Nick, come on. These are trucks. He thinks it's got a straight 6 like a BMW, and it only has 300 horsepower. What's the correct numbers here? Come on.
I'll just double whatever Filippo said.
Okay, so you think they're running 24-liter inline 12?
I would buy a semi of that.
I was maybe a little off on the torque, but
answer-
otherwise I was spot on.
The correct answer is about a 15-liter. Straight 6 is correct. The power numbers you gave were insane.
We're a little off. A little off.
They're less than half, actually. Double
A little
Filippo's,
off.
you'd still be under. It's like they're like 600 horsepower and like 1,800 pound-feet of torque.
Damn.
That is a good news story that is useful to the consumer, unlike all this. Okay, what's our next news story, please?
For the record, in Europe, the Volvo models, 13-liter inline 6-cylinder hybrid diesels with 380 to 500 horsepower. So I was spot on.
Yeah, but what torque? I guarantee it's not 600 pound-feet of torque.
It doesn't really matter.
All right, give us our next news
They
story.
report it in Newton meters. Nobody knows.
Here's something I appreciate about Mothers, the official car care provider of Cars and Bits. They're actually car people. Family owned and operated since 1973. Everything formulated right in Huntington Beach, California. These are products built by enthusiasts for enthusiasts, and it shows. The one I'd point to is their California Gold ceramic line. Ceramic coatings always felt like this intimidating, leave it to the pros thing. Mothers makes it simple. Spray it, wipe it, done. Professional grade results in your own driveway without the professional grade price tag. And because Mothers is available almost anywhere, you're not tracking down some boutique product online. You can go grab it today, just in time for the holiday. Whether you're prepping a car for auction or you just want it looking right in the driveway, there's no shine like Mothers. Head to mothers.com to check out the full lineup and find what's right for your car. Give it that Mother's love.
All right, the Chevy Express. Speaking of semi-trucks. The Chevy Express, you're familiar. It came out in 1996. You've seen a few around, yep, right?
Yes.
Good news
Yes.
for 2027. There will be a touchscreen.
That's pretty
Filippo,
exciting.
I have a question. I have a legitimate question.
I want to add more information, but please go ahead. With your
Wait.
question.
I have a legitimate question
yeah.
about this news story that is not.
Yeah.
Is the GMC Savannah also getting the touchscreen?
Good question. I think the GMC Savannah died.
No.
Did it not?
No.
You gotta assume that they're making all of. Yes, they are. The GMC Savannah is also getting that touchscreen, so that's exciting. The options, there'll be a 2-speaker. The base will be a 2-speaker system. You can get a 4-speaker system if you upgrade. But the current, so in 2019, for one model year, the 2019 model year only, they offered as an option a touchscreen that also offered Bluetooth audio. And then they removed that option in 2020 for some reason. But now they will all have Bluetooth audio and aux cable and a touchscreen.
You have to imagine that was a pretty easy feature to add.
You have to assume that it wasn't, otherwise they would have kept that option around.
How bizarre.
Did you know that they offered a 2.8-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder Duramax diesel?
No.
Not anymore. Like the
In like a
2019
cutaway?
touchscreen, it went away. It actually was. Here's a great thing. It was actually offered from 17 to 22. So in 19, you could have gotten the Duramax diesel and the touchscreen. Those are the valuable ones. That's the Mark IV Turbo with
that
coupe.
is when you go to a site like Cars and Bids a couple of years from now, it's going to hold a real premium.
That's right. That's
for
right.
2019
That was
touchscreen.
the enthusiast buy.
This is exciting news for everybody that buys a cutaway or passenger van or cargo van express.
Which
The Chevy Express, I remember when it came out, it was something like 96.
It was 96, yeah.
Somewhere around there, 90. It was not 96.
It was 96, yeah, 96.
Yeah, and I remember it. I was a little kid, and I remember it was kind of a big deal.
It was.
And that was 30 years ago.
And it's had a facelift and a half since.
You know what is also interesting? The starting price is $42,200, so about the price of a Mach 4.
Man,
Yeah.
that's expensive. That's expensive. Also, it's interesting because all the other vans have been fully redesigned or brand new versions have come out. Like pretty. Actually, some automakers have invested some real money into the vans. Ford's got the Transit and the Transit Connect, and Fiat's got the Doblo, and all that. And
what does Stellantis have in the U.S.?
It's called the Ram ProMaster City. You thought I didn't know? I know everything.
I did think you didn't know.
I don't know about the Renault Trafic? You think I don't know about the Crafter and
What about the
Viper?
Nissan? Nissan sold one. It's not. It's discontinued now. What was the Nissan called?
Well, interestingly, there were two vans that were completely different that shared a name. There was the NV and the NV. But the thing I like the most about the Nissan vans, this is a great one. The big one was called the NV, like 3500 or something, 2500. The little one was called the 200. They didn't even try to be like the 1000 and the 2000.
Yeah, no.
They were so far apart that they didn't want anybody making that mistake.
What did the Chevy version of the NV200 sold as?
City Express. You think I don't know anything? I know everything. Have you ever been in a City Express?
No.
It's an experience. It's a Nissan, except there's a Chevy, like the airbag cover is Chevy.
These have remained, I think, because they're relatively dependable, and also all the fleets that buy them have equipment already for them. Like if you're getting the cutaway, you can reuse a lot of that.
Every neighborhood has
fitting.
a handful of these with the
Plumbers,
paint
whatever.
completely chipped off the hood and dents everywhere and
why
crowbar
does
marks next to like one of the doors.
Those cars all have a hood paint issue.
Oh, yeah.
What is
Terrible.
the deal with that?
Find me one with all of its paint and I'll hand you $10.
They're work
You know,
trucks. I will.
this
I'll
morning-
buy you a shirt like Filippo
Thank you.
has on
$10.
if you can find
This
one.
morning, here's a crazy thing for you. This morning, I saw one of these vans look just like that. It was silver.
Whoa.
Wow.
Somebody paid up.
Or wrapped.
Or they must have painted it. Like, there's no way that they're offering
There are a
silver.
lot of customization options. Incredible.
What's also interesting, the Econoline van, which I view as its chief competitor, Ford threw in the towel in 2014.
the Transit exists.
Well,
though.
yeah, but they
And it's
replaced it with a
Econoline
much
was
better
like
product.
like for like.
So the thing is that the Transit is a good product.
Yeah.
And the Econoline, despite having a V10, wasn't.
Yeah,
By 2014.
It's just interesting that like these cars came out at the same time.
Yep.
Chevy's just running with it, and Ford was like, "We need to pivot." So
Yeah, except that they're making key improvements, like putting in a touch.
a touchscreen.
Well,
Yes.
I think my sense is that Ford decided to globalize the whole
Yeah.
line. So like the Transit is sold like this globally, and General Motors maybe doesn't offer a van overseas in any country.
Not anymore, because they've sold all of their European brands just about. So I think that they're done out of that market.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Crown Vic continued on just because they had so many fleet buyers that they were like, let's just milk it.
Yeah, this is all I'm sure the same companies that buy year after year after year after year. Just fine.
And now they get a touchscreen. All right, what's our next news story?
All right. Speaking of trucks, there's news this week from a Reuters report that there will almost certainly be a Volkswagen pickup truck built in the U.S. There'll be a truck, Volkswagen, in the U.S. You reviewed a Mexican market Volkswagen truck, but this will be more like Amarok size, I assume, but though we have no other information, it will likely be produced in Tennessee at their plant there.
Amarok. Nick, have you ever seen an Amarok?
I have.
Yeah.
It is crazy. I mean, around here, even just I drove back from Arizona to San
you see
Diego,
them.
and you go right
Yeah.
across the border, and like I saw all sorts of cars I shouldn't have. Mexican market cars. I saw like BYDs and Chinese cars. Like you see some stuff. You don't see anything like particularly
Wait a minute.
exciting, but you see weird cars.
Did Jamie Raskin not succeed in banning the Chinese cars from entering the United States?
They
He
found
has
a way
maybe
through the
failed.
border. I
What a
need to build the
shame.
wall.
So basically, this is Volkswagen recognizing that for the U.S. market, SUVs, large SUVs, and pickup trucks are the highest margin vehicles. And if you can break into that, there's money to be
Filippo,
made here,
I'm gonna-
unlike with their ID4, et cetera.
Filippo, I'm gonna burst your bubble here. This is going to be based on the Atlas, and it's going to be true.
There are rumors that they would probably partner with an automaker like Ford, because the Amarok is based on the Ford Ranger, as is, they share a platform. So it could be a just like they did with their minivan, when they had their minivan, which was called the
Rutan,
which was based on the
Grand Caravan.
Sure. I was going to say Town and Country because it was closer to that, but sure. They may just...
No, it was not. You didn't work at Porsche in 2012. We didn't even have power windows in our Rutan.
Regardless, they seem to think that their strategy in the U.S. needs to be different than their global strategy, which after a few years where they tried to merge the two. And so we may get a Volkswagen pickup truck.
Yeah. The only pickup truck that Nick and I support is the Mercedes-Benz X-Class.
I thought you supported the Ridgeline.
Me? The Ridgeline? No, dude. Nick and I, we do body on frame. We haul big loads.
Maybe
Do you think they saw the success of the Smith Ute conversions and said we went in on
Yeah,
that?
it's actually going to be based on a Jetta. They're just going to cut off the back.
That green one, the Audi A4
I know.
Smith Ute, $7,300.
If, to be fair, it was in Canada and had issues.
But it
yeah.
was Sonoma green VW Audi pickup, bro.
Nick,
That's not what this
you
would
had
be,
to buy-
just FYI.
They need to
Nick,
make a
if you had to buy a
B7 pickup. I'm in.
if you had to buy a pickup truck today, what would you get?
Raptor, probably.
Wow. Damn. Not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be in my top 5. Filippo?
F-150 Lightning. It's not for sale anymore, but I'd buy it.
The EV one or the good one?
The EV one, although I would also consider the hybrid.
Yeah. Am I allowed to buy used? I interpreted the question as new, but
New only.
I think the Lightning's no longer sold. Let me think about that.
RHO, I could see you in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
First
what
off,
would
the
you get?
correct answer is number 1, that Maverick high performance.
The Maverick
yeah.
Lobo
Yeah.
with the SV300 T-Pack. Yeah.
Boom. So that's number 1. Number 2 is that Ram Rumblebee we keep talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. What is number?
Can't technically buy it yet, but yeah, put our name on the list.
I assume that number 3 for you, as a big Toyota guy, is a Toyota Tundra TRD Pro in honeycomb or whatever that
No,
color's
hot
called.
honey.
Tacoma Trail Hunter in that teal green color.
Ooh, a Toyota hybrid man indeed.
And a Ranger Raptor, which is one of my favorite
Ranger
trucks ever
Raptor's
to
a good
exist.
truck, and I like how the current Ranger Raptor looks.
And a Volkswagen Severo.
Not sold in the U.S. All right, got to keep moving on to talking about cars.
The Talk Car segment, there's a lot to discuss today. The Talk Car segment is, of course, brought to you by Nicky Lube, which is the finest establishment in the world for oil changes.
Doesn't exist yet, but when it does, I have no doubt.
We're working towards our first customer.
I get my oil changed at Nicky Lube, and while I'm doing it, I hang out with Nick's kids. Nicky Lube, contact your local retailer. I want to talk about Monterey Car Week. Who's going? Are you going, Nick?
I'm going. I'm leaving probably right after we film this.
You're driving up in what?
And we are bringing, well, I've gone back and forth on the SLR or the Range Rover, but we're going to bring the Range Rover convertible.
Wow.
And we're going to have 5 dudes doing our best entourage impression at all times. So look for it. And I believe,
Folks, if
for
you
whatever
are
reason,
if you're in Monterey this week, look around. Nick will be driving a convertible Range Rover on HREs.
Hell
it's
yeah.
white. It's white in color, and the top will probably be down permanently. Not because it's broken, just because he wants to fly.
Also because it's a little
both.
broken.
Yeah.
It's got to be
Nick,
down.
this is so exciting. Folks, if you see this car, shout to Nick. You wave to him, say hey, ask him about Nicky Lube, especially ask him if you can become a franchisee in your state or local market. This is a very exciting event. Now, I have heard from various people that it looks like a lot of stuff's going to be kind of clamped down upon this year.
Yeah.
They've closed the 17-mile drive to people like Nick, honestly. and there's all sorts of traffic closures, and someone told me that even the local big box stores have put giant fences up around their properties so that people can't come in. Nick, do you think that you will even be able to have fun this year? Or do you think they have put a war on fun?
There's a giant fire as well, which
there is a fire just a little bit south of
Big
Carmel.
Sur is
It's also
basically
blocking
closed.
the one. A lot of people this year, for the first time in a long time, the one highway along the coast was open till literally yesterday. So you could, in theory, go from LA to Car Week on the one, and now it is closed. Also, word of appreciation for all the firefighters.
Agreed.
Don't you think that this is me just spitballing, but don't you think that is a bad omen for Monterey Car Week?
I hope the air quality isn't terrible, because there's a lot of old people there that, I mean, maybe they turn over their collection if things don't go the right way. But it's a sensitive.
Can I just give a word of appreciation to the firefighters?
Yeah, shout out to the firefighters and the old people.
Very important heroic
Nick,
work.
Nick, are you concerned? You know what hit me about this event that's interesting is that every time that the local community bands together to stop a big event of whatever, the local business community retaliates in response is like, no, we can't lose them. We can't lose the people. We can't lose people. But in this case, this area is already so wealthy and is already a pretty strong tourist attraction that this is like the problem with doing it in a rich area, right? Like they're like, nobody there is hurting for money. I'm sure there are some businesses who appreciate having them, but like the local people are like, we're already rich. We don't want these people, get them out. And it seems like every year things get clamped a little more and a little more and a little more, to the point where one day there may be a no Bugattis rule.
Whoa. What about the newest Bugatti, whatever that's called, that just came out?
Maybe they would even ban that.
The Mistral?
Wow. No, there's another one.
Oh, there's another. Well, I look, last year was a little nuts. I mean, and people are kind of idiots, like blocking traffic to like vlog and do stupid stuff, and like just no respect at all. So like it's inevitable. Like it's a victim of its own success. So they have to do something. I totally get that. I think it'll still be fun, to your earlier question. Like, there's just so much amazing stuff going on. Going to the auctions is really fun. I think they're trying to cut down on the car spotters, for lack of a better word, that just like are ripping around in their burble-tuned M4s and like just kind of being jerks. I don't know. We'll see. To your point, Monterey doesn't need this on the level that like Scottsdale Car Week, like I'm sure they would be like, we would love that level of circus, because that just brings more people and more money into us.
Well, and Arizona on a daily basis is sort of like this.
Right. I mean, that's versus like Carmel's, like we don't even need addresses on our houses. Like people just, they'll figure it out.
For what it's worth, a lot of the business community, especially in the towns that aren't Carmel, really rely on this week for their year from a business perspective. But if people want this event to continue and these events around there to continue, you have to be responsible-ish. Like, follow traffic laws.
Right.
They're
definitely going to let out more tickets. When Doug and I did the cars...
I went last year, and I'm not going this year, and I won't go next year, but I thought it was actually pretty tame. I didn't see anybody doing anything like really crazy. A lot of the local towns had taken some real steps in order to ensure that people wouldn't do crazy stuff, like Carmel shut down the main street, whatever. The 17-mile drive was an absolute nightmare disaster, but they've tried to block it off to people before, and it's impossible to do because people go in. There's a million events within Pebble Beach, and you just say you're going to one of the events, and they let you in. And the last 2 years, there was no enforcement, and I guess they're going to try to enforce it this year, but like it's not possible to really enforce it. You could have a tea time, you could have lunch, you could tell them you're having lunch. They'll just let you in.
In theory, they will now, like, you need to have like proof of a dinner reservation at one of the restaurants.
I mean,
good luck indeed.
if you make people hold up proof of their dinner reservations 20 cars deep, it ain't going to go well.
Agreed. But what are you excited for?
I'm excited for the Quail to eat $1,600 worth of food and get my money's worth. So that'll be...
And to see the Acura concept.
And to see the upcoming RDX hybrid concept.
Nick, can I ask you a question? Last year at this event, I spoke to you about a car.
That is the most important story. So the SLR, the idea to pursue one, came out of the Quail. I'm coming up, which means I'm coming up.
Tell us what spurred that idea.
I wanted to be accepted.
Oh, and were you?
No. But that's the story of my life. I constantly want to be accepted by others and, falling a little short here and there. Maybe I need to stop buying automatic supercars and find something legit. So this year, the goal is to go on a vision quest at Quail.
Oh.
I am going to come up with the next Nick car to replace the SLR and likely have the SLR come on Cars and Bids if the vision quest is successful. But I think we will have that vision.
Have you considered an Alfa Romeo 8C Competizione?
I considered it, but the one thing my E55 manual has taught me is that a manual makes every car better.
Yeah.
And I either need to swap the SLR or replace it with something that's a manual. I'm not considering any automatics.
Any manual car that Quail accepts is going to be insane money. In fact, you should go around when you're there and you should think to yourself, what is the cheapest manual car here? And I bet you it will be an unbelievably expensive car.
I will. So I'm going to create two lists then. I will create that list. And then I will create a spite list, which is cars that got accepted over my SLR that I don't feel like deserve to be there.
Boy, will there be some.
There should be some. Although Diablo is the featured mark this year, and I love the Diablo. I'm still obsessed with it, and I think it'll be cool to see all of them there. Hopefully that doesn't contribute to or amplify the Big Sur fires, as they're known for having some fueling issues. But short of any natural catastrophes, I think that'll be much better than the GT350 Shelby Mustang display last year.
Well, now, wait a minute. Last year, they also did the F50 anniversary, and it was incredible.
That was cool.
That's pretty cool. You know
what? F50s, you've seen one, you've seen them all. Oh, one's red, one's black. I mean, the GT one was really cool. The rest of them.
True of most cars by that.
No, but the F50, literally, there's none that look different. They're all the same.
Well, that's your opinion. There's the U.S.
No,
cars
they're all red.
And
other than three.
No. There's a lot of different colors. The U.S. cars and the Euros look different. They have totally different front ends. Me and Filippo spent hours kind of analyzing sort of the subtleties of them. And, of course, there was the F50 GT, and me and you chatted with the owner of the car for like 20 minutes completely by ourselves when I did the Countach drop-off.
That was very interesting. Talking to the people are interesting, but I don't know. It's about as different as the Rutan and the Town and Country. I give you, technically, there are differences.
Okay. Anyway, that's Monterey Car Week. I know a lot of people who are in the audience are probably going. If you see Nick, you should say hi.
The other thing that, Doug, you don't know is Sean somehow producer Sean tricked me into putting a Cars and Bids livery on the Range Rover.
That's right.
I'm not getting paid for this. In fact, I'm getting inconvenienced by it.
Thank you.
And then I have to go get it taken off. And I was I will do this under one condition, which is I want Nicky Lube windshield banner.
Oh, we didn't do that.
They didn't do that.
I'm so sorry. We forgot.
I'm not getting anything out of this other than I will draw more attention to myself than a roofless full-size Range Rover on HREs could possibly.
What do you mean livery? Is it on the doors? What is it? Where is it?
You'll see, and hopefully a lot of people take photos and
Ryan Lopez designed the livery. Then Sean said I hate it and redid it all. And then Ryan sent me another one, but both of them were MS Paint style. So I don't even know what it's going to look like.
You'll find out when it's on there as you're driving up the 5. If you see Nick driving it, post some pictures.
And if you see me on the side of the road, it's because I either have a slow leak in the right rear tire or my convertible top ripped up more.
Oh, jeez.
Or something.
Are you worried about driving up with your convertible top?
Well, I'll put the top down, worst case scenario.
Hey, Nick, did you get Snoopy plates yet?
I did order some revised plates. I did not get Snoopy's.
What a shame. Okay, anyway,
I'm okay with
the
that.
Car Week is coming. I'm not going to be on the podcast again next week. I wasn't on the podcast last week. I'm not going to be on the podcast next week. And the reason for that is because 2 weeks a year, I have a solemn vow where I sit and for one whole week, I take a vow of silence and I think about Filippo.
Man.
And that's this week, and it was last week also. However, these guys will be on the podcast, presumably talking about their Car Week experience where they all got arrested. And Nick will tell us what car he's going to end up with that he's very excited about, which will probably be something that I owned previously. What other...
I do want to talk about another event in a second, but I can't be there, unfortunately, this year, but you will be there. Producer Sean will be there. If you get arrested...
Okay.
First of all, please don't get arrested.
I'm going to use Morgan & Morgan.
Second of all, if you get arrested, please do so in a way that gets a lot of positive publicity.
I mean, the only reason
it's a tough feat to get arrested and get positive publicity.
No. Here's what you do. you get arrested, and while you're being arrested, you say, "I'm an employee of Bring a Trailer. I work for Bring a." You scream it out so that all the people videoing think that Bring a Trailer.
I think the delivery of the Range Rover convertible will make that a little difficult.
Yeah, good point. By the way, on Saturday, the day after this comes out, we will be at a Cars and Coffee in, I think, Seaside with the Vault Auto Group. Come say hi to Sean and others.
Producer Sean's going to be at this Cars and Coffee.
Producer Sean is driving his Alfa Romeo up there. And incredibly, we will be done filming today, just for behind the scenes at 3, 2, something like that, right? Including Cars and Friends, which goes out on the Cars and Bits channel on Monday. He is then planning on starting the drive then, because that puts him in LA on the 405 at 4:30, which is the prime time to, in a car with no air conditioning, and that maybe has had overheating issues the last time he drag raced a Previa.
Yeah, but maybe if he's lucky, he'll get spotted on the 405 by that incredible car spotter guy who's
love that account.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best Instagram of any Instagram, except, of course, for Nicky Lube.
Yeah.
Nicky Lube.
All right.
We do oil changes and more.
At Saturday, I will be accepting investors at this Cars and Coffee.
Smart.
If you want to get in my initial coin offering of Nicky coin.
I do want to talk about an
chance.
event that we have coming up with Willow Springs Reimagined on October 17th. If you go, we'll put a link in the description below, or if you go to thecarsandbits.com and click on the events page, you'll find out more about it. But a couple months ago, we had our first ever kind of hybrid auction at the Velocity Invitational in the Bay. We had, I think, 17 cars up there, sold something like $4 million worth of cars. 430 Scuderia for incredible money, set a new record for a R34 GTR. Had a bunch of really incredible cars up there with a really strong results for them. We're doing it again at Willow Springs racetrack. We're just north of LA. We're excited to be there. If you have a car that you think would be a good fit, like something interesting, collectible, really cool, submit it to us through that link. And if you just live in the LA area or want to come, we hope to see you there.
Yeah, Willow Springs, the racetrack just north of LA. Didn't feel just north when I was driving out there from LA.
It is the closest racetrack to LA, is something I can say factually.
Nick, tell us about Nick, you bought a Kia, I believe.
Bought a Kia.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You, Doug, and I have all owned Kias.
Yeah, that's right. The three of us have all had Kias, and the three Kias that there have been that we've had have perfectly fit our personalities.
Yeah.
You know, I had the only fast and cool Kia ever. Thank you so much. Filippo had a $1 Kia that was a bargain and barely running.
Delightful.
And Nick bought the Kia that indecisive people buy. Nick, tell us about your experience.
I bought the family car because I am a family man.
Yes.
We got the Kia Sorento plug-in hybrid.
Love it. It's a good car.
We needed 3 rows. We wanted, ideally, the ability to go EV for a short period of time. Most days we're driving 2 to 3 miles, and the Cayenne V8 literally never got up to temperature. It's hard on the car to do that. So we wanted something EV, but we didn't want to go full EV because we drive to Arizona probably once every other month. And I just don't want to deal with charging. We got it in a cool color, Cityscape Green. It was between this and a Volvo XC90. I was going to get the XC90, and then our group thread talked me out of it. Doug in particular said, "Oh, I wish I was rich enough to afford the depreciation on that." And it got in my head, and I started doing math, and he started sending me listings of 4-year-old Volvos that were worth a third of what they stickered for.
Yep.
And I just couldn't do it. I also got in such a big tiff with the Volvo dealer. I was trying to buy a used one,
To be
and
clear,
they were
it wasn't the Volvo dealer. It was a different dealer.
certified Benz and Beamer in Arizona.
and
they're like, "Oh, we're a no haggle dealership," and I'm like, "Well, I'm about to haggle," and basically they stopped returning my calls.
Yep.
I kept giving them offers and I was a little aggressive, and they effectively declined to pursue the conversation further, which is fine. That's their prerogative. So then the Sorento dealer was the only one that would call me back, and let's just say we're no longer on speaking terms with the Kia dealer either. They told me to watch my language, and I was I feel terrible. All right, I was having a really bad day. We were dealing with a family emergency.
Yeah.
And I get the car from them, brand new car. It had a scratch down the side about 3 feet long.
Oh.
It'll buff out, but should have been disclosed. The battery was depleted. The battery didn't charge overnight. I was worried that the car was just ruined or something. And I lost it on the guy.
Oh my God, what did you say?
I'm not normally this big of a jerk. But I said, "Oh, this whole thing has been a effing disaster." And he goes, and this kid's 20. He's like, "Oh, I don't care for the foul language, sir." And I go, give me I just start dropping F-bombs, and then it ended with go F-bomb yourself.
Have you apologized to this child?
Nick, are you kidding? You told a kid at a car dealership to go F himself?
Well,
What, are you serious?
It's even worse because my neighbor, who's a proud NRA supporter, it's his nephew, and he's the one that put
Nick,
me
are
in
you
touch.
kidding?
So now I'm like, I can't make eye contact with my neighbor.
That's a customer, a potential customer of Nicky Lube that's never coming.
Look, all he had to do was throw in the floor mats. Would have cost him. I would even have settled with the sunshade.
Have you apologized?
I have. I apologized profusely. They said, I appreciate the apology, but I don't think the apology was accepted. I totally I was a complete jerk. I think between working in the car industry and working in sales, I've realized I am a monster when it comes to negotiations. And I reverted into a primate level of myself that I'm not proud of whatsoever. And so, Tommy, I apologize once again. If you are looking for a good price on a Kia, check out Courtesy Kia and Mesa Gilbert. Be nice to them.
Can I ask you a question? Have they made up for the scratch on the side?
They offered for me to take it back to their dealers or detailers rather, and I was like, I got a Rupes. Like I would rather just do it myself. It was like 40
it's like
minutes
very
each way.
minor.
Yeah.
Okay.
I buffed it out with a microfiber and like old rubbing compound and got like 80% of it out. I'm like, okay, at home I can do it the right way.
Well, congratulations on the Kia. Was your wife and children? Were your wife and children there for these?
No, my wife was equally appalled by my behavior.
Okay.
I don't know what
Everybody
happened.
has tough weeks.
The air conditioning went out. It was 115 degrees in Phoenix. It was a bad week.
Everybody has tough weeks. For example, 2 weeks a year, Doug doesn't talk to me, and that's sad.
That's true.
What do you mean? The years where I take my the weeks where I take my vow of silence to think about you?
Yeah.
Those weeks,
it's tough. It's tough weeks.
Excuse me.
They're tough weeks.
I end up a better person from it, and so do you. Wow. Well, that sounds like quite an interesting experience. Nick, you wrote in our little pod Google Doc that we keep that it was the purchase experience from hell. It sounds like you were the problem.
Well, you know what? It's sort of like causation and correlation. You know, like it's a little hard to tell which direction started it and finished it. But I definitely took it too far. I mean, some mistakes were made, but I think my reaction to the mistakes were maybe not congruent with that. And like, I also, like, every car dealer would be like, I'm losing money on this deal. And I just have no patience for that. And so I also just like, I escalated rapidly because I think I was treated like a normal Kia dealer and a suburban, like I got the experience of an average buyer of a suburban Kia dealer versus I'm like, no, I know how the car industry works. And like, some of these lines are not resonating with me in a way.
Let me tell you something. Like, from someone who sold cars, and the car salesman in our
I can't recall you actually didn't sell any Saturns,
and you were at a no haggle dealership, no less.
But also I worked in sales operations at a car company. I'll tell you something. Everyone who comes in knows the car. My uncle was in the car business, so I know. No, you don't understand. My cousin's sister, he runs a Toyota dealership down in Texas, so I know I know all the games. Okay, everyone says that.
I will say I've never bought a new car. Yeah. The last three cars that I bought were either through Cars and Bids or through a great guy named Luke. Different experience, but it's everybody that buys a new car seems to have like a 4 hours of paperwork.
I was waiting. That's what pushed me over the edge. It was 4 hours. I said at 10 o'clock, I go, okay, I'm coming in at 10:30. Will you be ready and have all the work? Yep. Come in at 10:30. It was like 2:30. And then it was four minutes of signatures, and I was out. And like that's what made my head explode. And then I got
4 hours of waiting
found the scratches and all that. But again, it was like no one's fault. This is just how dealerships work. I'm used to Cars and Bids. I'm going to shill a tenth of as hard as you just did for that velocity thing. But
Willow Springs.
Buying private party is so much easier than buying through a dealer. It's crazy.
Or just in general at auction where the price is determined and you've like,
you also know you're paying market price.
Fundamentally the negotiation, right? Like you've agreed on a price when even if you're buying from a dealer on Cars and Bids, you've agreed on a price. That's all set.
My rant at the certified Benz and Beamer, they were like, we're no haggle because we just price in accordance with the market. And I was like, you've had this car since February and done 9 market adjustments. I don't think you have a good understanding of what the market value of this is. And if it were priced at the market clearing price, it would have sold by now. Yeah. So like, respectfully, you're still too high. Here is my offer. And then they chose not to call me back.
I've been in and out of dealers pretty quick sometimes. I think
but
it's
you
important.
just pay the asking price.
New car is harder than used car.
That is no fun, all right? Filippo negotiates all the way back to the asking price.
right.
And I get kicked out of the dealership for being a total jerk. So we're not
I
all the
bought
same.
a Kia Stinger from my swimming pool, and it was incredible.
They've
and I
been
didn't
sitting
even
on that
dry
for
off
3
the
years. They
paper.
would have given that away had you asked nicely.
Yeah, but like I think if you set an expectation and just be like, look, this is what I'm doing, and you know, I
You
think,
got a good deal, right?
I got a good deal. I don't know. I think it would have been better if those floor mats or even the sunshade were involved. They also had a Sorrento T-shirt. Do you know how much a Kia Polo is from the dealership?
$70.
130.
Whoa!
It's Travis
You didn't-
Mayhew, which is like some fancy golf brand, but
You didn't get
who's
the
dropping
Sorrento
130
t-shirt?
on a Kia Polo?
you didn't get this. Wait, you didn't get the Sorrento T-shirt?
No. And one of the other sales reps said one time he threw in a popcorn machine, and my wife is still like kind of like, well, where's our popcorn machine? You know, like I wanted a deal, all
Why
right?
advertise that if you're the salesperson? Then you got to go source another popcorn.
It
machine.
did get into our head.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's probably
Wow.
worth $800.
So this was a tough day. So you've gone, just to clarify, you're getting rid of your family car, which is currently a Porsche, a Cayenne, and you're moving to a Kia Sorento.
And he's getting
Yeah.
better tech and probably better
No,
materials. as
it
well.
actually, the whole like adaptive cruise, self-driving, safety features, it's actually really nice inside.
Yeah.
Like that's the other thing is I looked at the Volvo and I'm like 25 grand more, and like it is incrementally and marginally nicer in certain areas. But when you have two small kids that you know are going to trash the car, and the depreciation you're going to hit, like a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, a car that checks all the boxes, I just couldn't justify spending the extra money. Even me, who likes to waste money on cars, had a tough time swallowing that pill.
Do you have a tough time swallowing the fact that instead of a Porsche in your garage, next to your multi-hundreds thousands of dollars cars, you're going to now have a Kia? And so people are going to come over and say, oh, wow, you have a Lamborghini or a Mercedes SLR, and you make your wife drive a Kia. That's what people are going to say. Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the newest car that we have by like 15 years.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm here
wrong
for
with
it.
that.
Nick, I'm proud of you. I think you did well. I have a friend who has a Sorrento plug-in hybrid, and I referred Nick to this person. Did you reach out to this person to conversate with them?
No.
You didn't?
But I appreciate the offer. At that point,
What do you mean? You got her number from me specifically.
I know, but my wife had all these questions, such as like, how does the heat work, and like, will it get warm enough in the morning in the preheat cycle? Between Reddit's Sorrento subreddit and a
Filippo,
Facebook
you
group
should
I
see
added,
the conversation I had with Nick. I said, hey, by the way, I have a friend of mine who owns one of these if you want to talk to her. And he was like, that would be really helpful. We have a lot of questions and I really want to talk to her. I'm dead. This is like exactly what he said. And so I was like, okay, fine. So I sent her a message like, hey, I got this friend who's going to reach out. And can I give him your number? She was like, yeah. And so I did it. Nick was like, thank you so much. We are reaching out. And apparently that was as
we
far
figured
as
it out. We figured it out. There's not a lot to figure out about it. It's figure out.
Except for that touchscreen,
Okay,
bro.
I want to move on to
it's
the
annoying.
market report because there's actually a lot of markets to report. And the market report, of course, is brought to you by Cars and Bids, which is the finest place on the internet to sell cars or buy cars.
That's
and
right.
if you do any selling or buying of cars anywhere but the market report, I mean of Cars and Bids, then you're making a mistake. Filippo, do you agree with me on that?
So much agreement, yeah.
I got some
Unless it's a bad
trade-in
car, we don't
offers
want those.
on this Cayenne when I was shopping for this, and I said, nope, saving it for Cars and Bids. And
That's
they go, what's that?
And then they understand when you
What's
sell.
a Cars and who?
I want to talk about the fact, Filippo. I'm gonna let you the viewer in on a little secret about this segment. Whenever we do this segment, all Filippo wants to do is talk about a big sale we just had because he likes to hype up the Cars and Bids, right? And so if like we sold 87 interesting cars and one $500,000 car, we got to talk about the
I want to talk about a car that's only $110,000.
I want to talk about the cars are getting cheaper. Can you pull up the Lexus SC? Nick, you're going to be blown away by some of the cheapness I'm going to tell you about today. The Lexus SC 430 we just sold, click on it, for $7,000. Nick, you can't tell me you're going to buy a better car for 7,000 United States dollars than this car.
Give me time and I can come up with an alternative. But I agree,
find better.
it's a
That
Lexus.
is a smooth.
Lexus kind
By
of
the way,
cab.
that is nowhere near the cheapest one we've sold. Now we've also sold some of these for crazy money because the low mileage ones sell for crazy money. But that car is like the sixth cheapest of those that we've sold.
This one was only $4,900 with 184,000 miles.
Nick, you're not interested for $7,000 in picking up an SC430?
Yeah. The amount of money I've already depreciated my Kia, I could have probably bought one of these.
That's exactly right. And in fact, if you type in 924, Filippo, you will find that last week we sold a 924, which is, I'm not trying to knock the 924, but it's sort of on the lesser scale of Porsches. We sold a 924 for more money than this SC430 with a big old V8 and a sumptuous interior and bird's eye maple.
I was going to say, I can't believe that one for $8,500. I remember when these were like Lemons cars. Like 500 was like a starting offer on one of these.
SC430s are cheap. On that topic, take a look at the Panamera Sport Turismo. Did you see this sale, Filippo?
Of course. You think I don't watch the Panamera Sport Turismo market?
This is what the Ford execs were watching.
Nick, you see this sale?
43K.
The most recent one. The
last two were both pretty much identical sales.
43, yeah.
43,000 United States dollars.
I think a lot of people suggested this as a daily for Canon.
This is a pretty damn reasonable amount of money when the average new car is 52. When Nick just dropped 56 for a Sorento plug-in hybrid, this car is $43,000.
Actually, this is almost exactly what I paid for the Kia, 43.
Yeah, you could have had a non-3-row, non-plug-in hybrid. Congratulations.
Yeah, I don't know if that would have checked all of our boxes.
What is interesting is that obviously these as a starting point, like that, I don't know if we have a window sticker here, but the MSRP was quite strong on
probably
$130,000, $132,000 car. 78,000 miles appreciates it. But if you really want a deal, you get a non-Sport Turismo Panamera, because that's what, 25, 30 for a 2018? Well,
maybe. I mean,
or a Cayenne, which is the same, which is 25, 30.
I think about total cost of ownership, and I think that the Panamera, the wagons are going to depreciate less. So I think in the time you own it, it'll cost you the same. And you'd rather have the wagon. But still, $43,000.
Appealing.
This is a $135,000 car. It's a nice car. It's a modern car. They are still selling it as a brand new car, essentially. Like, Nearest makes no difference. Like, this 43, I remember when cars had gotten so expensive and everything was so expensive. Everybody's complaining about everything getting so expensive. And now we are in a heyday of cars being affordable. Did you see the Bentayga no sale?
I did.
Pull this up.
I'm still waiting for this to get a little bit cheaper, but man, are they tempting.
Did you see this, Nick?
Oh, 44.
45.
Wow.
44. That's a 12-cylinder, Nick. Now, it didn't transact, but the reserve was not dramatically higher than that.
No, and this is what they're increasingly worth. Especially for
that's a great number. That car still looks cool. It drives so well. Like, things are cheap, Nick. You can go buy things cheap.
The takeaway is that cars still depreciate. Right? Like I think often about my station wagon, which is an S212, but an S213, which is your gen. Here's one that we sold for $25,000.
What year is it?
This is a 2018, so early, and the non-mild hybrid that you have.
I have an S213.2. We don't associate with the .1.
But this, based on that emblem, has Distronic, so it has adaptive cruise, has lane keep based on the sensors. This is a well-spec'd, well-equipped car. To be fair, like, I've owned my car for 5 years, and I bought it for about that. Like, cars depreciate. But cars that were new a couple years ago that we all think are still
very
new.
profound. Cars depreciate. This and more interesting facts only from Cars and Bits.
Can I talk about a car that didn't depreciate that I think is really interesting?
Wait, I want to do one. Yeah, you can. Fine.
Thank you. This Shelby GT350R. 1,000 miles, one owner, unmodified, 60 manual. This is the car you want if you're into this, right? Sold for $117,000.
Well, I would probably want one with miles, Nick.
Well, sorry. If you want the nicest one,
I think Doug, you just predicted this. Filippo will pull up an outstanding
here's why it's notable.
And Shell.
So usually you think that cars depreciate, especially if there's replacements. And like there is still a Mustang you can buy, and a Mustang Dark Horse, which is a highly performant car you can buy, and the Dark Horse SC for the supercharged and GT. This car had a $78,000 MSRP.
Okay.
And now, just 6 years later, is worth
damn, that's
50%
wild.
That.
That is wild.
This is a regular Mustang. This is not that hard to get. It's a special Mustang. Sorry, but like, it's not like it's like a supercar. It's not a luxury brand. It is a Mustang that you could at the time have gone out and bought.
Dude,
and for the entire duration, you bought it at MSRP, and now they're 50% above MSRP.
Yeah,
that's kind of wild. All right, what was your last one you want to talk about?
No, that's pretty cool. I agree. So and that actually dovetails perfectly the point I was going to make, which is a lot of cars are cheap. Some cars are expensive. That's one of them. Can you pull up the Evo V we just sold?
I like this one.
Whoa.
I have
So cool.
started looking for an Evo to replace
Whoa.
my Supra. I've had my Supra for 3 months now. I love it. It's been an amazing experience for so far. But I think I'm going to replace it with an Evo after a year. And
Does the 3 months you've owned it and never driven it count towards that year? Like, do you have 9 months left with that?
well, I've seen pictures and it looks great.
It does. It's really nice over there.
So, but what the reason I'm started to follow the Evo market is because it has hit me that if I'm serious about getting an Evo and I only want an 8 or a 9, you have to kind of buy one when it comes up because what I want, which is an unmodified bright color one, never comes up. And in fact, I'm not entirely certain that even the next year, while I'm looking for one, I will even find one during that time period. If you go on our site and bring the trailer, neither of us have sold the Evo that I'm looking for within the last year.
We have a 9MR that's unmodified.
Yeah, but I only want a bright color and I don't want MR. But anyway, the
don't
point I was
want
going to
MR.
make is
that helps.
Evos.
That helps.
Well, I want my kids to like be able to roll down the windows. The point I was going to make is Evos are big money right
I'm sorry.
now.
Do you think that your children don't have arms?
No arms.
No arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
But anyway, Evos are big money. That 5 that just sold,
yeah.
if you look at comparable WRX STIs from the same time period, they're selling for $14,000. The market, for some reason, has really coalesced around Evo 5 through 9, and Evo 9 MRs are selling for 6 figures pretty regularly. That one that we have listed is going to bring a ton of money.
Yep.
Good Evos are hard to find. They are rarer than the Subarus, and they have gotten big, big money. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9s have gotten big, big money. And Nick and I are ready to spend it.
Are you?
Right. Well, we'll see how the ICO of Nicky Lube coin goes. But I would definitely buy one. I mean,
but I am surprised. Like even 5s and 6s, like they are selling for a lot more than they had been. Like the Evo market is very much on the upswing. If you have a nice one, if you have a clapped out one, then that's the reason why so many of them are rough, that's the reason why so many of the expensive ones, why so few of the cars have become expensive because so many are clapped out.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell us about our 911 ST, Filippo?
No.
Oh, he doesn't. Now that I called him out for only talking about
I see a vein popping out of his
We
forehead.
sold a 911 ST for just shy of $600,000 earlier this week. It's notable. There hasn't been a public ST result in a while, and they've all been the special color scheme heritage, I don't remember, and no miles. This one had 6,000 miles, which is a lot by 2-year-old 911 ST standards. Still very much retaining value, 200 something grand above MSRP. They're the coolest
If you
car.
guys sell more STs, I see a future in which your T-shirts with pockets have real pockets in them.
Whoa. I don't know that I can afford that.
Not decorative.
Not
But that's what he's saying. If we sell more STs, you can afford the heck out of it.
The ST is such a cool car.
We have to, unless there's more. Nick, do you have anything?
That's it.
We got to move on to questions. The questions are brought to you by Cars and Bids, which is the finest automotive auction platform from Clean Jalopy. Last week, Filippo brought up the Cayenne Turbo. Should it bother me as much as it does that Porsche uses the Turbo name on their EV models? It feels inauthentic and fake, and I don't like it. Do badges even mean anything anymore? I still don't understand all the complaints about this. The Toyota Highlander has never been to the Highlands. Almost every badge on a car is aspirational. Almost every badge is aspirational.
We have definitely
that's the
gotten
whole
away from
point
that.
of
But
naming.
there's a difference between aspirational and inaccurate, right? Like, it's claiming a feature it does not have. That is different than just saying, "Oh, we aspire to be rugged." Like,
Well, wait a minute. I think that Highlander is making the point that we can go off-road. Is it not?
it can. Maybe not the craziest obstacles in the world, but like throw it through a little light terrain, which is more than most G-Wagon owners do. It's different. It is different than saying I have a turbocharger. That is a factual yes or no statement.
But
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. Wait a minute.
It certainly. Hold on. I'm going to get infer versus imply correctly for you here. It is strongly implying, and a buyer would reasonably infer that the car is turbocharged based on the fact that it says turbo across the back in all big letters.
I think what
but people have been using turbo colloquially in language my whole life. Oh my God, come on. You still hear people say,
name me another car that claims to be a turbo and has a turbo badge on it and is not turbocharged. Name another.
When you're on Zoom calls, I guarantee you say, I'll turbocharge this, whatever, and then we'll
corporate
back
jargon
on
does not
Thursday.
count. No.
and he's
Filippo probably wants to supercharge your meeting notes. Then
All right, here's
circle
one.
back
here's
on
one.
that.
Here's one for you, since you're a stickler for accuracy. And all of a sudden,
I am.
The
Precise language.
The Chevy Corvette Coupe. Corvette Coupe. That's
Okay.
a cool car, isn't it? Only one
has a
problem.
Targa?
It's not a coupe, is it?
Except for the fixture.
Why don't
Does
you
it have
come
a
out
coupe badge
swinging?
on it?
Wait. Why don't you come out swinging for that, Nick? Where's the fight?
I'm just siding with the person asking the questions. I'm not making any accusations. I'm just asking questions. And I think it is fair to push back on saying turbo if it is not a turbo.
For a long time, badges were generally consistent with something, right? Like Mercedes does this too, and BMW does this, right? Like the numbers meant the
We don't
displacement
put compressor badges on non-compressor cars. You know what I mean?
And like in BMWs, the second two numbers meant something about the displacement. But it's been like 25 years of that not being true, 20 years at least of that not being true. And so I can see how you get there, especially when every 911 is turbocharged, basically, except for the GT cars. Is it a distinction anymore to have that a turbo be turbo?
A turbo's a turbo. There's no. We can't debate on what a turbo is.
It fundamentally became a different meaning.
It looks like a snail and it blows air into things.
It started as an actual differentiator and then became a marketing term.
Look, we can
And so as
debate on
marketing
is that
term,
a
I get
pocket or not.
I'm
It doesn't
disagreeing
open or
with you.
close, but it looks like a pocket.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just at some point it became a marketing term, not an engineering term. And
Like
that is
VR6.
annoying. No. To
right,
be clear, I'm also.
I don't think
annoyed
it
by
was
that.
a marketing term though until Porsche made it one.
No,
Everyone
but
agreed what a turbo was.
When Mercedes went from saying the actual displacement to 300 and then 400 and then
I agree with that.
different.
I agree
these are all marketing decisions, not
Well,
you guys
brand
are
decisions.
insane.
I'm not saying it's
point-
right, but I think it's real life.
Filippo's point is reasonable. The automakers used every one of those numbers meant the displacement, and then they started putting hundreds because they wanted them to end in hundreds and sound better, and
have
they
to go up.
started doing that. And
Next,
it
you
just
guys are
sort of
going to tell
got
me
random.
that the scat pack isn't named after actual scat? Where do we draw the line?
Thanks for transitioning us off that question so quickly.
Yeah, let's
Appreciate
move
that.
on to let's move on to our next question. The next question is, of course, from Daniel Johnson. I actually really like this question. Dear Doug and friends, I fear that living in San Diego is slowly turning all of you into Ryan Lopez. I fear that also. It's ironic because Ryan Lopez only arrived in San Diego 6 months ago. Ryan Lopez, believe it or not, is from Alabama.
But now all of his Instagram stories are of the surfboard on top of his Model 3.
He did start.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is he even surfing or is he just screwing around?
At least
we don't
once.
know. I have not verified that he's gone surfing around the water, but he's got a surfboard.
Ryan. So anyway, Ryan Lopez is actually from Alabama. He's from Madison County there in Alabama, and where Huntsville is, and of course. We love Ryan Lopez dearly, but he's not a Californian, but he looks like one.
Yeah.
So the question says, do you think your lifestyle has influenced your taste? Would the enthusiast cars you own be different if you still lived in your hometowns? And I wasn't gonna use this question, but then I remembered Nick's on this week. And Nick is from outside of some town, Akron or something, in Ohio. And
I call it
Nick,
coastal Ohio.
Don't you pretend like you don't know Sandusky.
Well, that's what
Sandtown
is that?
represent. Come on.
But what
Callahan
large
Auto
city
Parts.
is near Sandusky? I don't remember. What's it? Toledo? What is?
Yeah, Toledo. It's 419 area code.
419, baby. So
Shout out.
anyway, Nick, what would you, if you were still living there in Toledo, what would you be interested in?
I would probably have more domestic cars.
Yeah, you would.
I don't think I think a Termi Cobra, maybe the purple and yellow IndyCar Corvette C5. I think you gotta like flex tastefully there with like I definitely an SVT Lightning and not the trash one you like, but the real one with the V8 in it. Actually, that Lobo Maverick thing. If I
Yeah.
had to get new,
So you're be a Ford guy through and through.
Apparently, is what we're learning. here.
maybe now that it has a touchscreen, the Chevy Express van for my
Yeah,
family
yeah.
vehicle.
Don't they manufacture Jeeps
Have a lot more kids.
there? Don't they manufacture Jeeps there in your home?
Yeah, that is what the Liberty was proudly made in Toledo, Ohio.
That's right. Can I answer this with some level of seriousness? Of all the
Well,
group
wait.
here, I've moved
I
here
think
mostly
Nick's
for-
answering with seriousness. I think
Yeah.
probably.
Honestly, I'm kind of wondering as I'm saying it why I don't have these cars anyways.
because it's a plug-in hybrid to drive to the beach.
I tried to trade my father-in-law for a C5 again, and he's just not budging. But it's like, all right, dude, you're 83. Like,
Yeah, but he
clock's
lives in
ticking here.
Phoenix, which is the
And his
Ohio
AC's
of
not
the
broken, and I refuse to help him. All it needs is an AC belt, and I'm like, sorry, it's too
South.
hot.
You gotta sell it.
It's
to me.
too hot.
Gotta give it to me.
I'll trade you a 2014 Cayenne GTS if you want.
Filippo
to San Diego-
grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, which is a thinking man's town. Filippo, what would you be driving?
I've only been there for Halloween, and I beg to differ.
What?
So true.
Because
it's
you were
a
in
crazy
Northwest.
place. It's a crazy place.
Yeah. There were like riots for Halloween. It was nuts. I was a freshman, and I was scared.
called?
I wanted to go home.
on State Street downtown. I moved to San Diego 4 years ago from North Carolina, from like the Research Triangle area. I 100% have been influenced. So you get a couple of benefits. One is that you can own anything. There's no rain, there's no snow. You don't have to worry about rust. You didn't really in North Carolina either, but you don't have to worry about any of the things that you do in the Midwest, which means cars just stay in good condition. And like you're in like the ideal situation.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about is the heat good. You don't have to worry about is there AC really. You don't have to worry about any of that, which matters. And also you end up being around cars in a way that like I lived in Durham, North Carolina. Nobody had a nice car really. I remember distinctly that somebody down the street had a V70R, and that was the coolest car in the neighborhood by far. And here you go around, and like obviously our community specifically has a lot of cool cars. You guys do, our other friends, Cars and Bits has led to that. But like there's a lot more sports cars, supercars, a lot more money in cars. And so I think if I still lived somewhere that wasn't Southern California, would I ever have paid real money for a sports car? I don't know, because I wouldn't have those influences. I wouldn't have the people kind of supporting that decision and egging you on in the same way.
I
So it
remember
does
when
matter.
I first came to San Diego in 2018. I came here in June of 2018, and I had actually been really conservative on the cars that I owned before that. I had owned some sports cars and stuff for my YouTube channel, but personally, I was still driving that 06 Range Rover basically until I moved here. I had gotten to the point where I kind of had the crappiest car of any of my friends. Like it was 12 years old. It is 125,000 miles. Things were falling apart.
Yep.
It was a Range Rover, but kind of like Nick's cars. It was a shadow of its former self. But I remember getting to California in 18, and there were so many sports cars around. And I was like, I'm getting sucked in. And within 90 days of moving to California, I had my Ford GT.
Wow.
And I truly, 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 truly believe that I would not have done that if I was somewhere else.
Like, other places have car communities, and you do kind of feed into that. But then you also are feeding into what they're into, and it's often a little bit different.
There's also, it goes both ways, but having access to specialist mechanics.
Yeah.
Like there are, if I lived in Ohio, actually, I would get a Diablo because I could send it to George Evans easily.
I do think that's a point that is interesting to think about. You don't have to do winter tires. You don't have to do snow. You don't have to do cold. That's a big one. And having access to, there's someone in California who can fix basically anything on the West Coast, or at least close by, like in LA or maybe the Bay, but like it's close enough that you don't feel like you can't do something. But I remember when I lived in Atlanta and in Philly, I would make some decisions based on, can I find somebody? Is there somebody good to service this car?
Especially Newport Beach. There's a cottage industry of people that worked at either Ferrari Newport Beach or Lamborghini Newport Beach. And then after a few years, they quit and opened their own shop. And then basically their whole value prop is, I worked on the Mercy when it was new. If you're maintaining a Mercy, I will do it for you. Or insert car X, Y, and Z.
Now,
it's insane, and that really enables you to take care of difficult cars.
I grew up in Colorado, and back when I grew up in Colorado, there were
Cherry Hill.
There were Cherry Hills in New Jersey.
Cherry Blossom Hill. What was it?
When I grew up, there were not cars like that in Colorado. When I was a kid, there was no Lamborghini dealership in Colorado. There was no Rolls-Royce dealership in Colorado. The Aston Martin dealer was also a Volvo dealer, and they shared a building.
Shout out to Ford.
Yeah, we didn't see cool cars, but I still got into the supercars, like the ones that were starting to get around in Colorado in that era. Anybody who lived in Denver will tell you that like the mid 2000s is when Denver really started to kind of blow up on the national scene. And I still remember the first Ford GT I ever saw. To this day, I remember exactly where I saw it. And, I was getting into those cars. I wouldn't be surprised if I lived in Denver if I did have something really special, but maybe not quite the level of cars that I have at this point.
It's some of it is a factor of age. Like we're all just at that age where having a extra vehicle or
It's
two
doable and financially.
You know how I'm influenced by SoCal and Ryan Lopez in particular? I've now started calling my wife a total smoke show. That's his line. Hey, Nick, check out this smoke show.
Next question from Just Josh on you. Dear Doug, are you buying cars again so that Nick will have less options of cars to buy without following in your footsteps?
It feels like it. It feels like it.
In a way, although most of the cars I have bought recently have been cars I already previously owned. So I don't know what's going on there. I
wanted to buy a Mark IV Supra. You ruined that. You took that from me. I was going to buy Heritage. Total.
But what, Nick? Did I ruin that too?
You kind of did.
Something?
You ruined that as well as the market. The market
question.
manipulation. I'm sorry. The manipulation.
Next question. There's 3 or 4 more really good ones. From the Auto Curation. Dear Doug, did you think there was any chance in the back of your mind that you'd get contacted in talks for the next Grand Tour cast after the original trio left? Filippo, can you take that one?
Well, so Doug, as Hoovie has pointed out, says no to things. And once you get a reputation for saying no to things, they don't ask you anymore.
There's enough people in our industry who know that I would never have done that in a million years. Although, same question from Noobmaster69. Dear Doug, you've said before you'd never travel to Europe just to review a car. What car or collection of cars would actually convince you? Filippo, I'll let you take this one as well.
Yeah, so no's going to be the answer to that one, too. Can we go back to the Grand Tour for a second? Because there has been there's like a little bit more of an extended teaser of the Grand Tour. It's a tiny bit longer. I'm really excited for it. We love the Throttle House guys, James and Thomas, and I'm very excited to see what comes out of that from that little brief clip. All right, sorry, continue.
There are 2 more actually good questions. And this is an interesting question. It's asked to me, but I think it's more of a group question. From Blade Dan's 23. Hey, Doug, seeing as you're comfortable driving your kids around in expensive cars, even cutting the leather on your 993 to fit child seats, what car or price point would you no longer be comfortable strapping kids in the back? It's an interesting question. The answer for me is I was thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know what the price point is. But then it hit me, what 4-door cars are there? Like at some price point, cars with back seats stop to exist. They're not around anymore. And so that's why I wanted to pose the question to you guys. Like, what can you think of? Like, what is the most expensive family car that you could like imagine? That's not like a one-off ridiculous thing, but like an actual car you could purchase.
The Rolls-Royce boat tail, according to Google.
Well, but as a family car, like the Cullinan, maybe you could argue is
that's a thing,
or Bentayga.
Yeah, but those are depreciating. I mean, I think the question, the thrust of the question is more like, oh, you've done this in this enthusiast car. People do this in Cullinans and Bentaygas and Uruses all the time.
Yeah, like, absolutely.
What do you think the most expensive, like realistic, like a Lagonda Taraf?
Taraf would be cool, but you would put kids. It's got rear back doors.
Zagato shooting brake.
No rear seat.
That doesn't have a back seat.
I can't think of a car where like you would. There's a lot of cars that are not interesting to you, I suspect, like old historics that might have 4 seats, but those aren't in your domain. And also there comes a point when like, is that a car you want to put your kids in from a comfort and safety perspective? Kind of becomes a bit of a question on top of, are you into it? I can't think of anything that you would like from a desire standpoint want to have that you wouldn't put your kids in. But
like, not just me, like that a person, like I can't think of any car that is so expensive as a 4-door car, short of stuff like, yes, that boat tail Rolls Royce, whatever, that like is not kiddable.
But even that surely has latch anchors. Great. Put the kid in there.
Yeah, you could.
You might get some creasing, but okay. That's not going to decrease the value that much, you know?
John Tamarian of Curated, his wife has an Instagram account, and a lot of pictures of her kids are taking her kids around. And she confirmed a car seat fits in a 722 SLR. The kids crawling around like Aventadors and Diablos, and like it's really fun to see. I did once briefly allow one of my kids a ride in the SLR where I put the car seat in there, and like just Like it was like a roller coaster ride. Like they loved it. I know it wasn't the safest thing in the world and not
You gotta have
something I would do, but
experiences
I think sharing the hobby, as Doug has said, with the kids and getting them stoked on it, like it's so special and it's so worth it that I think like just
Just
do
find
it.
a way to do it. You know,
I also think from a value perspective, the question is how, like, where fundamentally it's what would impact value. Maybe cutting the leather in your 993 to a purist, but you have a higher mile car anyways.
Yeah.
It's not a purist 993. It's that buyer isn't going to be interested in your example anyways. And so like, does putting car seats in it mean that there's might be some stretching on the leather? Okay. What's the value impact? It feels trivial. And so great.
Right.
I
put my dogs in the SLR all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you can roll that out.
And
It's
thus,
fine.
like a GTC4 Lusso, like that
Yeah,
may be
great.
one of the more expensive, but like
Yeah.
you'd still do it a pure, like all those cars. Like there's no 4-seat car I think that is so collectible that you wouldn't probably do it, short of like crazy one-offs like that Rolls thing.
What about the Luce? It's
I wouldn't. No, my kids won't ride in that because they're not complete idiots. By the way, Nick, have you been paying attention? I'm not going to call out anybody. This is a late in the podcast rant here. Side topic, but
I'm
have
here
you been
for it.
paying attention to certain rich people who we know or know of, who are posting positive things about the Luce now that they've been invited to a special event, or that they're, like, have you seen this?
It is so obvious too, is the problem, right? Like there's like 4 people that are saying nice things about it on the entire internet, and like they all seem to have been chosen for things. And you're like, what's happening here?
They're being pampered and they're probably being promised things. And of course, the comments are just destroying them, making fun of them. But there are a few car sphere people who are doing this. And I've been thinking about it, like, they're going to, till they're blue in the face, talk about how great it is now because they're getting special treatment from them. But the real truth of the Luce will come on the secondary market. Like, to me, no matter what anybody says about this car, the real truth will come on the secondary market.
Which is why they're strategically launching Chassis 000. It's going to be at RM at Car Week, but it's a charity auction.
Yep.
So they're
And
going to
we
set
will-
like a really
and-
high comp of someone trying to buy their influence within Ferrari and claim that is another sign of success of the Luce, which it won't be an accurate one. But
And they will make a point to make sure,
I'm gonna
one
boo
way or
this, by the
another, that car sells for a pretty high number, if you know what I mean. That car won't be selling it'll sell for big money one way or another. You know?
You think an SLS bring a trailer bidder will jump in?
I didn't say that.
But did you imply that, Doug?
I think that they are going to make sure, I think that they are going to carefully concoct a PR campaign around this car that will last for the car's entire product life cycle. And the car is obviously trash. But I think that the secondary market will be the true proof of what the people believe. Whatever an influencer tells you, whatever a reviewer tells you, the secondary market is the truth. Like, that's just where it is. And that's
You know what the right answer to the original question was? That dude that has the 456 Venice.
Well, I put kids in the back of
Are
that.
you
gotta.
modding that to put in car seat tethers, or is it because it's a Brunei car that's literally irreplaceable?
Didn't he convert it to left-hand drive?
Yeah, I guess he did. There you go. There's
I
your
would-
answer.
I would have no qualms at all about putting car seat tethers in that. The car's one of one, basically. Like, you put tethers in it, okay, now it's got tethers in it, but like, what are you gonna do? Find a cleaner one?
Right,
Okay.
Fair. Yeah.
Go look
Still
at
the car, yeah. 100%.
This has been a great podcast. I wish you all success at car.
Oh,
except for
hold on. I got the right answer.
Oh,
One
gosh.
more time. That Cadillac Celestique thing.
No, I'd put car seats in the back of that for sure.
500 grand you letting your kids screw that up?
Well, they're asking 500 grand, different than the market value.
Fair.
And also, yes, absolutely.
I put my kids in a Kia because I'm a simple man of simple taste.
Yeah, simple man of simple taste, heading off to Monterey Car Week in Range Rover convertible. Nick, I wish
Speaking
you
of
the
which,
best.
Phil from HD is texting me during this pod being like, you have a leak in one tire. Actually, that's 2 tires. Actually, you should replace all of your tires ASAP. We've taken out four nails. So
Did you drive through a...
it's been fine. I'm going to bring one of those little portable inflators and send it.
Well, we were hoping that you would see the Range Rover with the Cars and Bids logos at Car Week, but instead you'll see it broken down on the side of the 5.
Probably get you more eyeballs that way.
Oceanside? You think?
I'm gonna bet on some SLSs while I break down.
Anyway, lovely
Coming
pod.
strong.
Thank you guys so much. Our best pod ever ish. And we'll talk to you next week. Again, I won't be here, but others will. And then we're all back in person after that. Goodbye. Everyone.
Enjoy the 2 hours of radio.